This is why the queen always carried her purse. Many people don't know this, but the queen used her purse as an indicator for her security when she was still alive. And she used to carry one mirror, one pen, one lipstick, one box of flavorless mint, and her reading glasses. When she was talking with someone and she shifted her purse from one hand to the other, it would signal her team that the conversation was over. Next, during dinner, if the queen ever put her purse on the table, it would let her team know that the dinner should be finished in the next 5 minutes. Another important signal she used to use was twisting her ring. It basically meant that she needed to be rescued as soon as possible. And finally, if the queen is talking to someone and she puts her bag on the floor, she's actually telling her security guards that she has no interest in continuing the conversation. This guy asked a robber for a beer. Here's why you should never swim in ice. A few years ago in Slovakia, Boris Oravec thought it was a good idea to go swimming under a frozen lake. The swim was only 50 feet, so he didn't think much of it because he was a professional athlete. But once he started swimming a couple feet, he started feeling disoriented and missed the exit by a few inches. So his friends on the surface tried to guide him in the right direction, but that unfortunately didn't work. They even tried to break the ice to get him out, but that didn't work either because the ice was too thick. Lucky for him, he was able to grab a rope, so he followed it back to the start. What do you think caused him to be disoriented? One night in St. Louis, a robber decided to rob a bar while people were still in it. After robbing almost everyone inside, he came up to Tony, who was sitting at the bar, and asked him to give up his wallet and his phone. But to everyone's surprise, Tony said he only had $2 to his name, and that was for his next beer.
He actually asked me, "I need the money out of your wallet." I just said, "I got $2 in my wallet and that's for my next beer."
So the robber went over the counter, and that's when Tony told him to get him a beer while he was lighting his cigarette.
I actually told him, "Hey, since you're back there, get me a beer." He looked at me and says, "No, get your own beer."
Lucky for him, the robber wasn't here to hurt anyone that night. Everyday things you didn't know had a purpose. Right, most people think that the hole in the pot handle is meant to hang it, but they can also be used to hold a spoon, so when you're cooking, you don't make a mess everywhere. Next, we have these tiny things on jeans. They're actually called rivets, and their purpose is to reinforce jeans in areas that will be super fragile. And the hole in the pen cap is actually a safety feature, because if you were to swallow one, you wouldn't choke, and air would still be able to get through that tiny hole. And finally, pom-poms on beanies were actually made for sailors, because when they were at sea, they would sometimes hit their head on low ceilings, and the pom-poms basically protected their head while keeping them warm. During her morning show, Julie Chin was reading the news when suddenly she started losing vision in her left eye. She then started losing feeling in her right arm. Then a few seconds later, she couldn't speak properly.
The Tulsa Air Response.
Lucky for her, the people around were able to spot the symptoms and quickly called the ambulance. But what's super wholesome is that she even apologized before leaving.
I'm sorry, something is going on with me this morning, and I apologize to everybody.
And yes, she's feeling much better now.